Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll yield myself such time as it may consume. Greetings, Mr. Moore. With this strained legislation, we are bumping into two major social problems: deadly drunk driving on our roads and a broken immigration system. But, alas, we're not doing anything to solve either problem. The bill pretends to do something about both of them, but it really does little or nothing about either of them. We lose 11,000 people a year to drunk driving crashes. More than 1 million people are arrested on DUI charges every year, Mr. Speaker. I lost a beloved cousin of mine in Florida who was in the prime of her life just after graduating from college when she was killed by a drunk driver while she was riding a bicycle on the roads of Florida. So I take this issue very seriously of drunk driving, and I've worked on it fastidiously for a long time in my career. There's a lot we could do in Congress to improve safety on the streets, including imposing a nationwide mandatory ignition interlock device on the cars of all convicted drunk drivers. We did that in my state of Maryland after fighting the liquor lobby for a long time, but we finally got that done. We could also pass my bill, the Sarah Deppink Langenkamp Active Transportation Safety Act, which would support state and local government efforts to build safer transportation networks for bicyclists and for pedestrians. Unfortunately, this bill doesn't do anything like that. Indeed, it's hard to see how it will reduce drunk driving at all. It's obviously not a serious attempt to address the social problem of drunk driving. It does not increase criminal penalties for DUI anywhere in the country, and it does nothing to promote public education about the dangers of drunk driving. It will sadly improve nothing on the roads. As an immigration law, it does nothing to make it more difficult for undocumented people to enter our country unlawfully, nor does it make it easier for people to acquire the documents to enter the country legally. It is a purely punitive measure, and it's both radically under-inclusive and radically overbroad. It only targets the very tiny fraction of all DUI violations in the country committed by non-citizens and does nothing to crack down on drunk driving by citizens who are responsible for the vast majority of it. Immigrants who drive drunk are already covered by the criminal law, and the undocumented ones are already categorically deportable. They don't need to drive drunk to be deported. They are deportable now because they are not in the country lawfully. Additionally, because of the breadth of DUI statutes around the country, this legislation will render deportable people who never drove drunk at all without any opportunity for judicial discretion or waiver. Under current immigration law, undocumented people are already both inadmissible and deportable. Furthermore, conviction for serious DUIs already render even lawful permanent residents who've been in the country for decades potentially deportable and inadmissible in the first instance. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, any non-citizen who is convicted of or who admits to a crime involving moral turpitude, a so-called CIMT, is generally inadmissible to the country. Likewise, any non-citizen who's convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude, where a sentence of 1 year or longer may be imposed, is deportable from the country. So serious DUI offenses are already deportable crimes under current law. The following DUI offenses are all considered crimes involving moral turpitude: any DUI where the maximum possible penalty is 1 year or more and where there is serious bodily harm, hit and runs, any aggravated DUI, and any DUI involving driving with knowledge of having an invalid, suspended, or revoked license. But this bill goes far beyond even this very stringent current law by making permanent resident green card holders deportable for a single infraction, even where no one is hurt and no property is damaged. This will lead to some very harsh results. In Arizona, sleeping in your car while drunk without even starting the car can get you convicted of a misdemeanor DUI. And under this bill, a single conviction for even that offense would make a 20-year permanent resident of America, a green card holder, deportable from the country. That person is rightfully deportable if they engage in an act of drunk driving that hurts someone or kills someone, but that's the law today. Or if they drive drunk without a license, but that's the law today. And an undocumented alien is, of course, deportable in all cases. So you don't need a statute to deport them for falling asleep drunk in their car. Today, there are nearly 13 million green card holders, permanent residents in the United States. These are people who have followed all the rules. We're not talking about undocumented people who are here unlawfully. They're already taken care of. But there are 13 million green card holders in the United States, with 9 million eligible to become citizens now. Categorically deporting individuals who are convicted for any DUI offense without any regard for the severity or consequence simply defies common sense. This legislation on a tiny subset of criminal events distracts from the real problem. My distinguished colleague has invoked several terrible drunk driving incidents by repeat offenders who are undocumented. They should have been deported from the country long ago. My colleague is talking about people who drunk drive and kill people. That's already a deportable and inadmissible offense. So that's not what the meaning of this legislation is. Let's look at what a tiny slice of criminal events we're talking about and ask whether, in fact, that's something that advances public policy. I don't think it does. Let's work together to impose compulsory ignition interlock devices on the cars of all convicted drunk drivers, including the overwhelming majority who are U.S. citizens, and let's really make the roads safer and stop the repetitive scapegoating of immigrants. We can address DUIs in a serious way here in Congress if we're serious about the issue. That's what I did as a state senator in Maryland. We could do that across the country, Madam Speaker, and I will reserve the balance of my time.